Things are really swaying here at the
That's
old
putting it mildly, Harry.
That's right. I want to apologize first to all the people. I said this show was coming on in an hour and 47 minutes.
Wrong again.
I've been an hour and 12 minutes, which was very embarrassing to me when I said that. So for those of you who are tuning in at 8 o'clock, I'm sorry. Anyway, we're coming to you from the Firehouse Courtyard in Old Sacramento. This is the big 8th annual Jazz Jubilee, and I want to tell you there's a huge crowd here, right there?
Absolutely, and I'll tell you, most of the bands are on for a break right now, with the exception of the Natural Gas Band, which they're working very hard at this very moment. We thought this would be an opportune time to show you what it takes to put a wing-ding show like this together, and we promise you this is going to be a very special half hour, right, Henry?
You know, Steve, I thought that this whole show was supposed to be about the Jazz Festival.
That's absolutely right.
But now I find out that that's not true. I understand.
Absolutely right again. That's not true.
I understand that you have a story that takes us to an elementary school?
Yeah.
Well, what does that have to do with the Jazz Jubilee?
Oh, you of little faith. Roll that one, would you, Fred?
The next one, Jimmy Stafford.
How does your vocabulary grow?
Okay.
For David Etterbeek, his day at school is no different than that of his classmates. And the same goes for his younger brother, John. But when the bell rings, the other kids go out to play, and John and David go to work, if you can call it that.
1, 2, 3, 4.
As members of the original Sacramento Jazzin Jrs. Jumpin' Jazz Band, David and John could be part of the youngest conglomeration of cooking traditional jazz musicians in the country. The youngest Jazzin Jr. is only 10 years old, and the senior member of this ensemble is 12, practically over the hill.
The pro we used to pro when you're still going strong. I can feel the room swaying for the band, playing one of your favorite songs from way back when.
And the band, which has only been together for 3 months, is under the direction of their able mentor, Kurt Pearsall.
What would you say is the most striking thing about this band?
The fact that they're all under 5 foot almost, huh?
To put a band of youngsters together that fast obviously required a lot of moxie, as well as a certain degree of creativity on Kurt's part.
John, I noticed when you were playing there that you have a block of wood on your trombone. What's that for?
Oh, well, the reason for this is to reach out to the 6th position.
Well, why don't you just put your arm out there and go for it?
My arm's too short.
Ingenuity and a lot of practice have resulted in a group of pint-sized players who really cook. No doubt about it, these folks are going to be a hit at the Jazz Festival. Why, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the older musicians ask if they can sit in.
Just some big butter and egg man want me.
Excuse me, David, listen. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt practice here, but listen, I'm kind of a singer myself, and I'm wondering if it was okay with you guys that maybe I could sit in with the band. What do you say?
Listen, old-timer, when we get done with rehearsal, we might think about putting you in, maybe later, okay?
Okay. Maybe later?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll probably
thanks.
be able to fit you in.
Okay, thanks.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
maybe some other time. For Weeknight, I'm Steve LaRosa.
We hope you enjoyed our show. Don't forget the 8th annual Jazz Jubilee is going to take place tonight, Saturday, and Sunday, so there's plenty of time to come down here and really have a good time. A lot of great bands. Hope you'll be here. And Monday for a brief period. Hope you'll be here.
Night. Good weekend.
Okay. We'll see you.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Big Weeknight goodbye.
And here's the Bob's attendance. You wouldn't believe how confusing that was with us on the air in here. Because you came in early. We didn't think you were going to come in that early, so we had to dump out of a song. Were you both on the air just a minute? We're both talking at the same time. That's why.
That was really confusing.
I was hearing him asking questions.
Well, maybe I'll look over the shoulder.
That was about 300 yards.
A lot of work goes on before that concert starts. Right now, let's move on to another musical piece. This one is some delightful young people called the Jazzin Jrs.
What do Mark, David, John, Marin, Laura, Kyle, Matt, and Kelly have in common? Jazzin Jrs, youngest band ever to perform at the famous Sacramento Dixieland Jazz Jubilee.
I like being a musician because I can do a lot more things besides just playing the trumpet. I can choose what I want to do. It makes me feel like I've accomplished something and that what I'm doing makes other people happy. And it's fun, and you get to do a lot more things than most people do.
The Jazzin Jrs are hired by local businesses and groups to entertain, so they've got to be good. Twice a week they practice with director Kurt Pearsall.
Go, beginning. Now keep going. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
They probably are well-talented kids, so that's probably the reason why they're able to pull off the performances they're able to do. But other than that, I have no explanation for what's going on in the room. I don't know.
Students David and John to have some small band experience. After many phone calls, the Jazzin Jrs was formed. Many of the kids play more than one instrument. We asked them if music gets in the way of their other hobbies.
Music has taken up a lot of my time, and all I'm able to do is swimming in the evening, and then golf in the morning. But I still like doing those two things, and I get music in between those.
Sometimes. Like when I want to do other things and I'm supposed to practice, or like when I want to go swimming or ride my bike or something, I have to practice.
Sometimes I've had things that conflict with like baseball or soccer, or I want to go play outside or something, but I don't have time for it, so I've got music. And music probably takes up a lot of my time every day because it's just important to me. I want a big butter and egg man from way out in the west.
To be an entertainer, you've got to love being in front of people. You've got to forget your stage fright.
Performing, and I like entertaining people because I like to see them feel happy.
I like to perform in front of people because I never was afraid of have stage fright, and I plan to be an actor when I grow up. You know, I'm not afraid of being up on the stage. I like to make people laugh and stuff.
Recognition took place, and a family was reunited.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the 1982 Dixieland Jazz Jubilee, and welcome to Channel 10's PM Magazine. I'm Dee Dameron.
And I'm Dave Moses. This is the 9th annual Dixieland Jazz Jubilee here in Old Sacramento, lasting all the way till Monday on this Memorial Day weekend. Lots of terrific music down here you don't want to miss.
You know, I bet there are going to be a lot of old-timers down here this weekend, but in our first story, we're going to be meeting some jazz musicians who are anything but. They're the Jazzin Jrs, and they are between 11 and 13 years old, and they are terrific musicians and terrific kids. Then in our second story, we're going to be taking you on a marathon up the Empire State Building.
Also tonight, Joan Embry is going to introduce us to one of the most playful of animals, the otter. And then Pam Young and Peggy Jones with a good idea. Update your wardrobe with a bit of color.
Now don't you go away, because all that's coming up right now on this Friday night edition of PM Magazine. Now, one of the most popular groups down here this weekend has got to be one with probably the least experience, and that's because they haven't been around that long. The Jazzin Jrs. There are 8 musicians here. They're absolutely terrific, and they're between 11 and 13 years old. Now, they're going to be playing at Straw Hat Pizza in just about 2 hours, and they're going to be playing all weekend long. But we want to introduce all of them to you right now. Meet Mark Allen. Mike French, Kelly Silvers, and Maren Bertelson. Now these two fellows are Matt Perrine and John Etterbeek. And here are David Etterbeek and Kyle O'Brien. Altogether, they make up Sacramento's Jazzin Jrs., 6th, 7th, and 8th graders who are such pros that they're just that. They're professionals who are booked constantly. But wait just 1 minute. How in the world did these youngsters break into the realm of Louis Armstrong? Through practice, and plenty of it, hour after hour. 6 of the 8 Jazzin Jrs. Are regulars in their intermediate school's concert band, as well as a couple of the other school bands. David Etterbeek is working on being tomorrow's Doc Severinsen. And Mark Allen, tomorrow's Benny Goodman. Matt Perrine isn't satisfied with just playing the tuba. He's just as comfortable with the electric bass. Musicians, yes. Youngsters, well, you begin to wonder. Take trombonist, 12-year-old John Etterbeek.
I'd like to pick the thing that I do, that I think I do best and that I have the most fun with.
They all make their performing look like a breeze, but ask them just how tough their specialty really is,
The reeds. You always seem to break a reed, or they get real thin after a while, and they just fall apart on you, and you have to bring a bunch up on the stage.
Breath control, keeping a note steady, and holding it up sometimes.
I have to sing loud, and then I have to listen to the piano and the tunes so I can keep on tune. That's the hardest thing for me.
I wouldn't say particularly difficult as opposed to any other instrument, but being in a Dixieland band, you have to really hold the background up.
Any mistake the trumpet makes, you always hear.
Keeping the time, you know, not speeding up or slowing down or anything.
Now, the Jazzin Jrs. got together about a year ago and began making Dixieland music that would rival any groups. Now, playing with about 80 other youngsters in a band such as this one is one thing, but to be up there on stage almost by yourself, well, that's quite another.
The first time we went up, we were really nervous because we just stood up there and we were frozen on the stage.
When I first started, I used to be so nervous, but now if I'm on the piano, like the singer and I, we have good times. We laugh all the time. Very nervous, but it wore off. Like I couldn't be talking to you right now.
Training like this, hours in rehearsal, and a genuine appreciation by their fans have wiped out most of that stage fright. Now, these kids are nothing but pros.
Now, some musicians practice endlessly, and they work, and they work, and they can never land a job. The Jazzin Jrs., on the other hand, are booked constantly. Now, as I mentioned, the Jazzin Jrs. are going to be playing tonight in just about 2 hours at 9:40 at Straw Hat Pete's, and of course they're going to be performing all weekend long. Don't go away, because coming up next, Joan Embry is going to be introducing us to the clowns of the animal world. Help as far as updating their wardrobe, and that's exactly what Peggy Jones and Pam Young are talking about, updating your wardrobe through color. But first of all, we're going to be catching up with Joan Embry, because she's going to be telling us about the clowns of the animal world, the otter. Sorry, guys. Monday night on PM Magazine, we're going to be meeting a traveling creature of sorts who's got to be one of the most unforgettable characters you will ever meet.
Then we'll meet a man who has set off on his own search for a cure for cancer.
Thanks for being with us tonight, folks, and listen to a lot of jazz.
Have a terrific Memorial Day weekend.
Diana Dameron's Fashions, courtesy of Canfields and Company. Monday on Our Magazine, actor David Soul talks about his life since the TV series Starsky and Hutch with host Gary Collins. Tune in Monday at 3:30 here on 10.
Channel 3 presents the 9th Annual Old Sacramento Dixieland Jubilee, live from locations across Sacramento. Dixieland Jubilee 1982 is brought to you in part by Coors and your local Coors distributors. Coors, the official beer of the 1982 Old Sacramento Dixieland Jubilee. And by Toyota, who invites you to test drive the 1982 4x4 truck at your local Toyota dealer. The rugged 4x4. It's a class act. And now, your studio hosts, Tom Duhane and Sue Pearson.
Well, a very good evening to you. I'm Tom Duhane.
And I'm Sue Pearson. For the next hour and a half, we're going to bring the annual Dixieland Jazz Jubilee right into your living room. We're going to tell you how much it costs, how to get there, where to park when you do get there, basically just how to enjoy yourself to the fullest. After all, it's just one big party.
That is right. It goes on for 4 days and 3 nights of glorious Dixieland jazz, and we are going to be taking you live all over town. We've got old bands this year, new bands, United States bands, and groups from 15 different countries. So the message is pretty clear. It's going to be something we're all going to be enjoying.
This weekend, and it's a festival that includes both the young and the old. We get that story from Michael Cronley.
Oh no, we're doing an hour-and-a-half special on the Jazz Festival, and this dodo reporter is out at the Arden School. What does that have to do with the Jazz Festival? Well, step inside this classroom for a minute, and I'll show you. Come on. This is Mrs. Seinold's 7th grade English class. Punctuation, grammar, you know, the stuff you hated in junior high. The stuff these kids hate, too. Kids like Kelly Silvers and Kyle O'Brien. They're both part of the class and part of something else, too.
Well, I don't like English class too much because I really don't do well in English, so I just don't have much fun.
What's fun? What do you like to do?
I really like music a lot. Jazz and Dixieland mostly, because that's what I play a lot of.
This is the original Sacramento Jazzin Jrs. Jumpin Jazz Band, a big name for a bunch of 11, 12, and 13-year-olds. They started out at Ice Cream Socials, stole the Jubilee last year, and with Kelly on piano, Kyle on sax, and 6 others wailing and womping, they're ready to do it again. At the Jazz Jubilee, I'm Michael Cronley.
We'll have more live coverage of Jazz Jubilee 82 in just a second.
New England, it's the Mississippi Jazz Band. Like the rest of the bands attending the Jazz Festival, this group can really cook. But what separates them from the pack is this lady. With her scorching vocals and boundless energy, Jan Sutherland is truly one of the Jazz Festival's red-hot mamas.
I think you can.
And they're going to be wonderful for another 4 days, and we hope you get a chance to enjoy it all. That's it for us tonight. This program is about to become history, but the Jazz Festival is still going full blast in Old Sacramento and will all weekend.
Our special thanks to the Hamtown Jazz Festival.
Music. Some of the bands came from as far away as San Antonio, Texas. One band from Sacramento, calling themselves the Jazzin Jrs, were right up there, and they really caught the ear of a lot of people.
The Sacramento Jazz Jubilee brings together people from all walks of life. And tonight, Channel 3's Marty Gonzalez profiles two bands that are going to be performing this weekend. Groups that are separated greatly by age and experience, but all share a love of music.
You are listening to Dutchess Gramercy 6, a polished group of professionals who come from varied musical backgrounds. Turn back the page 20 or 30 years, and this is what the Gramercy 6 may have sounded like. But these are the Jazzin Jrs, 12 to 14-year-olds who have been together just 2 years, but already sound like seasoned pros.
It's really fun, you know, because we go up there and we always think, hey, we're going to have a good set today, we're going to knock them out. Sometimes we don't. Most of the time, you know, we do our job and we do really good, and we know the crowd appreciates it, and we like making people feel good, you know, and make them happy.
They have been making the fans happy at 2 previous Jazz Jubilees, as well as performing at festivals in Northern and Southern California. All told, these young pros have performed in public more than 100 times, a schedule that has given the Jazzin Jrs polish and confidence.
We got a ways to go. We're doing fine, and I think we're better look out because we're moving up, and we might catch them one of these days. So.
Sacramento Jazz Festival is where the young and young at heart come together to play some of the best Dixieland jazz around. In Sacramento, Marty Gonzalez, Channel 3 reports.